More from the Molesons. Stories by Bernie Boss. Pictures by Hans de Beer. Meet the Molesons. This is my family, the Molesons. My name is Doug, short for Douglas. My father's name is Morris, Mud for short. He's a good cook, and he keeps the house together pretty well. My mother, Molly, works in an office all day. Grandma zips around in her electric wheelchair. She's lots of fun. Oh, I almost forgot. My twin sister, Dusty. She is a sister. What more can I say? We're just an ordinary family, and like in any ordinary family, things happen. Things that most families don't like to talk about. Just don't tell my mother I told you this stuff. Exercise is healthy. One Saturday, Father came home with a large box. "It's a surprise," he said. He looked proud. Dusty pulled curiously at the paper. "Hands off!" cried Father. "Don't make such a fuss about it," said Mother. "All right then," Father said. "Dusty can open it." "Hurrah!" Dusty tugged off the packing tape. "You bought clothes?" Mother was astonished. "Just wait a minute," Father said. "These are no ordinary clothes. These are sweatsuits." He waved his hand around as if he wanted to give us a hug. "For the entire family." "Oh no," Mother said under her breath. "Jogging is healthy," Father said. "We'll all exercise and get in shape." Then we all had to try on our new sweatsuits. Mother wasn't happy. "I looked like a stuffed sausage," she said. "Not at all," Father said. "You look nice. More like a dumpling." Mother did not take that as a compliment. We went to an exercise circuit in the park. It was like an obstacle course made out of logs. At each station, you had to stop and do something. Leap the log, jump the stump, you get the idea. "Cool!" Dusty shrieked. She was really into this exercise stuff. "Come on, Doug." "I'm too hot," I said. These were sweatsuits, all right. My back was already dripping. "These sweatsuits certainly are nice and warm," Father said. He wiped his forehead to soak up the sweat. "Too warm," said Mother. "I'm taking mine off." Before long, Dusty and I had ours off as well. Father came along behind and picked up the pieces. Without the suits, we were cool as a swimming pool. We jogged and jumped and hopped our way through the course. It was great. The only one not running was Father. Dusty encouraged him as she ran past. "They'll be great in the winter," she said. Father just grunted. Wet paint. One day, Father decided to put a fresh coat of paint on the house. He wanted to brighten it up a bit, so he chose blue. Not baby blue, but a glorious royal blue. Dusty and I were playing outside. Father kept looking over at us as though he didn't trust us to leave his paint alone. Finally, he went inside and came out with a sign. "Caution, wet paint." He hung it by the door. Dusty and I looked at each other and grinned. That's the nice thing about being a twin. Sometimes you each know what the other is thinking without saying a word. Casually, I kicked the ball so that it rolled softly past the ladder. Dusty ran to get it. "Watch out!" shouted Father. "The door is wet." "We didn't do anything," Dusty whined. She's great at whining. Just then, Grandma rolled up. "How nice that you are keeping busy, Mud dear," Grandma said. "I like that blue." She rolled a little closer. "Careful," said Father. "The paint is still wet." "Grandma," Dusty shouted, "will you play with us? Mother is sleeping." "You betcha," Grandma cried. "Kick the ball this way. I'll be goalie." "How about if you play behind the house?" Father suggested. But the game had already started. Dusty passed to me. I took it around the rose bush and kicked the ball to Grandma. She zipped a chair into reverse and roared backwards. Too bad Grandma doesn't have eyes in the back of her head like Mother. With a zip kapow, she ran right into the ladder. Now get this. In slow motion, the ladder crumples over, Father flips backwards and lands in Grandma's lap. The paint can spins in the air, a fountain of blue. It was one of those moments you never forget. All the commotion woke up Mother. She took us to the park to play while Grandma went home to clean up. What Grandma didn't know was that Dusty and I had slipped the sign on the back of her chair. Caution, wet paint. Family bunk bed. One morning we woke up to the sound of pounding. I jumped out of bed and went to see what was happening. Father was outside with a pile of wood and nails and glue. He was busily making something. "What is it?" I asked. He said through the nails in his mouth. He was hard at work all day long. Dusty and I hung around trying to find out what he was doing, but all he would say was, "Wait and see." At last it was finished. Father hung a big sheet over the whole thing and tied it with a golden rope. Mother untied the bow. "I hereby uncover the Molesons family bunk bed," she cried, and whipped off the sheet. "Oh, wow!" squealed Dusty. I was speechless. Dusty and I were going to have a fabulous time with our new bed. It was huge. "Help me bring it inside," Father said. He looked so proud. Once it was inside, Father and Mother couldn't agree on where to put it. I thought it should just go in our room, but our room was a mess and I didn't want to tidy it, so I kept quiet. Finally, they settled on the living room. Mother got out the sheets and we all made the beds. Then, while Dusty and I were arguing over who would get the top bunk, Mother climbed up there herself and got under the covers. "Hey, wait a minute," I said. "That's our bed." "Right," said Dusty. "Bunk beds are for children." "But this is a family bed," Father said. "Big enough for the whole family." It dawned on us that this was the whole point of Father's idea. Dusty climbed up on the top bunk with Mother, and I wriggled under the covers next to Father. He stretched out and yawned. "Isn't this great?" he said. "It's just the right size." He reached up and tapped on the upper bunk. "How's the weather up there?" Mother and Dusty giggled. "I'm hungry," I said loudly. "Oh no," Father said. "We went to bed without our supper." He quickly sat up. "Ouch!" yelled Mother and Father at the same time. They walked into the kitchen rubbing their heads. "I think you are right," Father said. "Bunk beds are for children." Mother knows best. One day it was so windy the trees bent in half. Father looked outside. "Now this is a day to fly a kite," he said. "Isn't it too windy?" asked Mother. "It's perfect," Father said. "I hate it when there's just a little puff of wind. The kite never gets off the ground. Come on, Doug and Dusty." A minute later we were all out in the field with our kite. At first I tried to hold the kite while Father let out the string, but the wind ripped it right out of my hands. Dusty took the other side. Father started to run. "Let go!" he shouted. The kite shot like an arrow into the sky. Father had to brace himself against the wind. The kite pulled so strongly. I wanted to try and fly the kite. "It's my turn," I shouted, pulling on Father's arm. "I don't think so," said Father. "I don't think so," said Dusty. "You're both crazy," I said. "The wind is much too strong," Father said. "I can barely hold it myself. I'm going to try and bring it down." But the kite was having a great time up there in the strong wind. Father groaned and grunted and tugged at the line. A tree branch cracked and fell onto the ground. "You two go on inside," said Father. "I'll get the kite down in one piece." "Okay," said Dusty. "We might as well, since we're not even allowed to fly the kite ourselves," I said. Father was out for another hour. When he came into the house, he fell like a stone on the sofa. "You were right, dear," he mumbled to Mother. "It's much too windy to fly a kite." Then he added proudly, "But I brought it back in one piece." He fell asleep on the spot. He was that tired. Mother bent over Father and gave him a gentle kiss on the forehead. "I'm always right," she said. Skating on thin ice. It was a cold Saturday in February when Father decided it was time for Dusty and me to learn to skate. "Hold tight to the chair," said Father. "It'll be much easier." It was much easier. Cautiously, we slid around on the slippery ice, clinging to the chair. "Watch me," said Father. "This is how you do it." He whizzed across the ice. "Now pay attention," he cried. "I'm going to do a spin." He skated backwards, stepped out, kicked up, and suddenly, zrip! He was spinning like a top. He stopped with his arms outstretched like a professional figure skater. Well, if Father could do it, so could I. I let go of the chair and struck out on my own. Step, glide, but the ice was so slippery that suddenly, whoops, I landed hard. "Ouch!" I cried. "Thank goodness you didn't break the ice," said Father, and laughed. I didn't think it was funny. I crawled back to the chair. "Watch this," cried Father. "I'm going to do a jump." He skated fast, did a quick turn, and "Look out!" I shouted. Father was headed right for Dusty's chair. I ducked, and Father flew over Dusty and landed with a cracking thud on the ice. Oh, that must have hurt, I thought. But the cracking sound didn't stop. It wasn't Father. The ice had sprung a leak. "Wow, that was great," said Dusty. Father scrambled to his feet and skated around the edge of the pond one more time, as if nothing was wrong. But then, suddenly, he wanted to go home. We didn't mind at all. The market crash. Usually, Father goes shopping for the weekend, but this Friday he was painting the kitchen, so Mother took Dusty and me along to help. "I'm in a good mood," said Mother. "Let's get something for a treat." "I want popcorn," cried Dusty. I wanted to get a giant bar of chocolate. Before long, we had a whole load of groceries. There was a long wait at the checkout. Finally, it was our turn. The lady at the checkout scanned in the prices. The machine whirred and pinged. "That will be $68.47, said the lady. Mother stared into her purse, shocked. "I don't have enough with me," she said. "My husband must have borrowed some money." "Don't worry," said the lady. "If you come back in a few minutes, I'll remember your total." "We'll watch the groceries," I said bravely. Dusty and I stood guard. "Right," said Mother. "Okay," and she ran from the shop, her face as red as ketchup. But when she got home, Father told her that he had forgotten to go to the bank. He had other things on his mind, like painting the kitchen. The bank was closed. What could they do? While Dusty and I stayed by the groceries, keeping everyone from stealing our food, Mother got a brilliant idea. The piggy banks. Our piggy banks. The ones we'd been saving our coins in for years. They were heavy little pigs. But Mother didn't feel right just taking our money, so she bought the piggy banks and a hammer with her to the store. We were pretty surprised, but by then we were so bored with guarding the groceries that we would have agreed to anything. "I'll buy you new banks," she said. "Okay," we both said. This was going to be a smash. Unfortunately, we had to wait at the checkout again. My chocolate bar was half gone by the time it was our turn. I set my sweet little pig on the counter and kissed its snout. "Goodbye," I said. The lady at the checkout was astonished. "What are you doing?" she cried. "Here we go," said Mother, and with 2 hefty bashes from the hammer, the piggy banks burst open and money went flying. We ran around like maniacs catching money. Fortunately, there was enough. "I don't know what I would do without you," Mother said. Just an ordinary family. I know you are thinking that things like this would never happen at your house, but if you just pay attention, you'll be amazed by the things your family does. Things you would never mention in public, things that are really quite funny. You'll see my family is quite normal after all.